There's a story about the camel and how the camel had the first IUD. They supposedly put rocks into a camel's uterus. That's an old wives' tale, and it's been debunked.
This is When Used Correctly.
Who's not on birth control? What should you ask your doctor? Does getting an IUD hurt?
Are condoms really 98% effective?
Probably not.
The actual IUD has existed for more than 100 years. The Greeks and Romans used a lot of devices to prevent pregnancy because they were very sexual. The sponge that we all know is a device that was probably the precursor to anything else. They would soak it in oil or fruit juices and stuff that would destroy the sperm. So then it went from the sponges to other odd devices, the pessaries that were used in the 1800s. A pessary is a device that is stuck into the vagina and up onto the cervix to hold the uterus up. Once the Comstock laws were passed, you had to use things that were made to not prevent pregnancy, but for uterine support so that they could use birth control methods that weren't called birth control. There's a wishbone device that was invented in the late 1800s that sat on the cervix and went into the uterus, and it was supposed to be removed monthly and then reinserted after it was cleaned. Unfortunately, because it was made of metal, it took disease up into the uterus. So those devices kind of went away after a while. There was the Grafenberg ring. It was silver and gold. So it was silver and gold. And it's a springed coil, and you could actually pull it, which was an intrauterine device that was inserted, but it also caused bleeding and pelvic disease, and it wasn't the greatest of things. With Margaret Sanger in the 1930s, you had the invention of the diaphragm. Lippy's loop, very effective, but it also isn't used in the United States because of it being known for promoting disease again. And then this is the infamous Dalkon Shield. It was used by more than 2 million women in the United States and also throughout the world, and many of them got pelvic inflammatory disease and many have died. It used a double string that took disease up into the uterus. Definitely, compared to the copper wishbone device, the copper IUDs that we have now are more effective. They're not as invasive. Of course, it's uncomfortable going in, from my understanding, but it works to promote a woman's control over her body. In the 1950s, they started researching the pill. We assume that these are the first pills to use push packs. These are numbered by day. These were expired in 1979, so they're not effective. So don't try and take them.